Okay, so first, just tell us about your role, who you are, and the brand that you oversee.
Okay, so my name's Kyra. I'm the business development manager at Basil. Basically, my role is to help develop our business in different kind of ways and working with companies like Measure Up to help improve the experience that our crews and teams are doing in store, as well as we also help out in right now. It's been crazy hectic since COVID slowly has died down. So we've been assisting all of our stores in managing, training, all those different fun stuff.
Awesome. And which measure up tools are you currently using?
So right now we're actually using the measure up itself, the daily checks, and also the auditing tool. The auditing tool, we started hiring some mystery shoppers to use that specific tool to basically do some visits at their store and provide us feedback on how their experiences was. For the daily checks, I've been using that a lot, especially during COVID time, just because during that time we had to keep track of all of our crews, making sure that they're before coming in that they don't have COVID symptoms or anything. So we've created a COVID checklist for them specifically. Also, temperature checks. We created checklists for that just to make sure that all of our food are being kept at temperature. And now that most of our stores have started opening up and we now have dine-in, we're going to start pushing more of our deep cleans checklist on our daily checklist.
Perfect. And what was your operational assessment process prior to Measure Up? How does it differ with Measure Up?
So with Measure Up, it's cooler now. It's on a cell phone. It's easier, convenient. You can just walk around with it as you go. Back then, it's all paper and pen. We used to print everything out, make sure and we tend to not throw things away back then either. We want to keep it for several years. So it ended up piling up with papers, a lot of waste, and it's like a lot of paper waste at the end of the day. But with Measure Up, it's an awesome tool because everything's tracked online and there's a portal that I can always go back to check on the results. Whenever we have food health inspectors come visit, it's easy for us to just show it to them immediately, the time frame that we want to show them in terms of results.
And you spoke about some of the things that have made your life kind of easier there, but what is the biggest benefit of using Measure Up for your role specifically, and then for the rest of the organization?
I think the biggest benefit for my role specifically, I can see all of my locations on our portal. So to make sure that all of our stores are actually following the temperature checks or checking it in the morning, checking it in the afternoon, in the evening, I have access to see all of that. And if they're not, then it's an easy. We usually use our phones to just message them or email them regarding the results or their situation why they're not checking their temperatures. For the store themselves, I think it's much more easier for them. It's more convenient since they can just hold on to the cell phone wherever they are and just quickly do a checklist rather than going back to the wall where the temperature check is and running back and forth trying to put the correct temperatures on. For them, I think it's more convenience wise. Also, in terms of since it is a checklist, when they do their deep cleaning, they can actually check mark each task that they've done and then send it off within the end of the week. So they can always look back on what hasn't been done and then apply that on specific days when it's not as busy as other days.
Perfect. And what features or components do you utilize the most? Either on the pictures and comments, you talked a lot about the dashboards there. Like what are the parts that you use the most or enjoy the most?
Personally, I think the dashboard is just very convenient. There's different ways of doing things that makes it easier, and also I also like how it's very user friendly. I think I don't have to always contact you guys to make changes for me. I can do it myself on the spot, and also I find that you guys are very very efficient and helpful. So if I do need a quick answer to one of my questions, I can just shoot you guys an email and I get a response and even a callback or like a video callback to guide me step by step through it.
Glad to hear that. And just talking about that dashboard, do you use it to help identify like company-wide problems? Have you seen it been a help in reducing issues? Give any examples that you might have.
Like I said, like it's very helpful for us, especially with temperature checks, since it is a food industry. We need to make sure that we're keeping track of our temperature of all our fridges. Obviously, if it's not the right time, we need to make sure that it's all of the food is being moved. So I find that looking at the dashboard, like for the entire franchise, for the corporation and franchise, is very helpful for me to just reach out to them immediately. In terms of deep cleanings, we haven't used it as much because like we've been working as minimal as we can in terms of labor. But now that we have more crews starting to get trained into all of our locations, once we push that in, I'm definitely going to use it to keep in track that all of our restaurants are being kept to standard. Also, it's also in addition to daily checks, like measure ups as well. And I think it's a really good concept because even though I'm not the one using it, I still tend to use the checklist, the measure up when I'm visiting my stores for my own personal benefit. But it's also nice to see other people's feedback, like all of our mystery shoppers' feedback, because to them they are guests. To us, we're like a manager walking in trying to like see what's wrong with the store.
Right. Yeah. That makes perfect sense. And are there any quantifiable differences you've noticed since using MeasureUp? Are there any metrics that, as part of using our platform, you can evaluate? And have you seen anything sort of trending positively towards what you would call like an ROI, a return on investment?
At the moment, it's been crazy, so I haven't actually recently reviewed all the metrics, but I probably will look more into it in the future once things settle down in all of our locations.
For sure. Yeah, fair enough. And just last question, any general feedback or comments just on the experience with us so far?
Overall, I've been very satisfied. I know I haven't been reaching out quite often, but like hopefully once things settle down, I can dive into that portal again and then hopefully update a lot of the different checklists that we have. Like I said, some of our stores, I think I told you before, we already we opened a new location. It's our Basil Block Shepherd location. We did a renovation. We actually downsized that, so I have to update all of their daily checks now because of the fact that they're using different equipment now, and also they have less items than they used to, so I have to update all of their checklists in terms of that. But like overall, I've been really happy with the experience. I like being efficient. Like I said, I'm always busy on the go. So if I can just figure it out myself, I'd rather like edit the checklist myself versus reaching out to you guys. But I also love the fact that you guys are always there whenever I have any questions or need assistance at all.
I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear all those nice things, and we appreciate it. And yeah, well, hopefully, things can die down a little bit, and you get a little bit more time to sit down because I know it's been crazy.
A lot more updates on it, so I'm definitely gonna look into that, and hopefully I can apply